South Africans will now have access to real-time information on budget processes thanks to the newly launched online budget data portal. Addressing the media, Finance Minister Malusi Gigaba said the online portal aims to engage the public on the budget processes in a transparent manner. He said information on provincial budgets will also be made available in that portal. This, he said, would improve public participation on budget processes.
We suggested, in addition to this portal, to make it more accessible, is that we will be taking it to the provinces to ensure that we inform the finance emissaries so that as soon as the national budget, the provincial budgets, the budgets of municipalities, especially the metros, are made, they are also uploaded so that members of the public could access them and be able to view how the public finances are being managed. I think the most important thing is that this is an exciting prospect for the youth of South Africa, wherever they are, and I think I would like to call on them to take full advantage of opportunities such as these ones. For young people in particular, this should come as a very exciting measure, because it makes all this information, for those who are studying at universities, for those who are working, it makes all this government information easily accessible to them, not only through hard copies, floppy disks and memory sticks, but it makes all this information available on their gadgets.
And now let's take a look at how the portal will benefit South Africans. Firstly, the Minister, Mr. Gigaba, says the public will have easy access to budget information via mobile phones. He says it will allow South Africans to submit their views on budget processes. The Minister also goes on to say that the portal will also be made available to provinces for municipal budgets to be uploaded. He says this will enable the public to access municipal budgets, thus improving participation on budget processes. Now, Director for the Information Technology Association of South Africa, Sunil Guinness, joins us live in studio. Mr. Guinness, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Your take on the launch of this portal, will it really benefit South Africans?
I think it's an excellent initiative in line with the Access to Information Act. Most of the information is currently sitting in different parts of the Treasury's website, and the portal actually brings to the forefront what citizens would consider to be the most important information. I had a chance earlier on during the announcement to go onto the portal. You can see there immediately last year's budget vote speeches there, and some of the expenditure estimates are in place. There are also other information which is available to the public, which normally will take a long time to go through, and it's put there in PDF format. It can be utilized, I think, in large formats to actually analyze the information. But I think for the layperson, it is accessible. It's things that people would not know about. And the Deputy Minister went to court this morning because one of the journalists did ask, if this information is available online, how do people in rural areas get to see this? Well, most people have a cell phone. We have a high cell phone penetration
But now
rate.
comes the question of, yes, we're talking access. We give them a tick for that. But then comprehension becomes the other part. So you're somebody that has firsthand experienced it today. Access, as we say, yes. But comprehension, how easy is it for people to understand?
Initially, unless you really have a very good understanding of fundamentals of finance and economics, it's not that easy to understand because the nomenclature utilized is that which is based in the financial industry. But I suppose that information can, as the Minister went on record and saying, the portal can evolve in due course to provide some dashboards, which, most people understand information from a graphical format much more easily. The other matter which one needs to take into consideration is that we have 11 languages, and right now the portal is in English. It will evolve to the other languages, but there are also opportunities for people to write in any language. There are people on the back end of that portal, from what I can see, who will be able to answer those questions. So essentially, the information is there. It's racked and stacked in typical finance speak, but for a layperson to actually understand this, it has to be brought down to a level where it's easily palatable.
Because again, like you say, for you and I, we'd be able to understand everything that is there. But for the ordinary South African who must also participate in this economy, needs to know how they went on to appropriate our funds, because they also contribute to this very tax that goes on to be used in various departments. But beyond that, the appropriation, are you able, when you go into the portal, to see that this is the amount that was reserved for education? They went on to have that budget revised because they needed emergency funds. Do you see that breakdown when you go into the portal?
I think immediately the portal has, as I mentioned, a previous budget vote speech, because it's just been launched this morning. It has a previous budget vote speech. There is some information which is available from last year's estimates, some information on the medium-term expenditure framework. But tomorrow's budget vote speech will be loaded immediately, I guess, when after it's embargoed. At that point, from that point onwards, it will be loaded. And there will be this aggregation of national and also provincial as well as municipal budget. So the person on the street will understand how their contributions are actually supporting the economy of South Africa in terms of delivering what is typically known as a public benefit to citizens as such.
Would you say that this ties in with the whole social compact issue that we keep hearing of, where we see government now wanting to reach out to South Africans to say we want to be a transparent government? Do you think that this now bodes well for them?
I think it bodes very well for the social compact. The organization that actually developed this portal is an NGO, as far as I can see from this morning's communication. And they have several other organizations that support them. They are actually, a civic group as such. So immediately that's a big tick in terms of the social compact. Yes, reaching out to individuals on the ground and getting the general populace to understand what government is doing, what's in the fiscus, how it's being utilized, it all bodes well for government. But the question that needs to be asked is that we are several decades into a democracy. We are behind the 8 ball, as we would say, but nonetheless, the step has been taken. So we've got to appreciate and we've got to understand that Treasury is doing all that it can do right now to put that information out there.
Especially at a very difficult time when many are talking of some sort of a reshuffle. Perhaps their minister will be there as a political head. I mean, it's a difficult time for him as well, I take it. But they still went on to launch this. Do you think, with the political uncertainty, though, pertaining to reshuffle, yes, the country is stable right now, we have a president, but do you think somehow these developments or talks of reshuffles could have any impact on what we go to hear tomorrow? Or it's a done deal, the speech is sealed, South Africans will actually get to hear from the minister?
Look, reshuffles always have an impact. There's no doubt about that. The question is in which direction. Typically, the bureaucracy doesn't change overnight. We're unlike the American system, where a politician comes in and can change the entire bureaucracy as such. So the bureaucracy or the technocratic capability of Treasury will still be in place, which means all that excellence that is there remains. At the end of the day, the minister is a talking head for the policies and practices that are put together by technocrats, brought up and approved and taken to cabinet level for approval. So I think for now, Minister Kikaba delivering this budget vote tomorrow is signed and sealed. It was repeated today. We don't know what could happen after that. There is obviously talk of the cabinet being reshuffled by President Ramaphosa, which is on his mind. Will Minister Kikaba be part of that reshuffle? It remains to be seen.
No, it's certainly an interesting fact that you go on to remind South Africans that actually they are political heads, and you've got technocrats that actually deliver on a daily and they get to remain. But who do you take as a political head? Would it be your advisors? Some of them are allowed to have 3 advisors. How many then leave with you?
Look, typically the advisors go with the political head. And the advisors provide an advisory framework which is based on various things outside of even the Treasury mandate itself. It may be advice around how we communicate these messages. It may be advice around the social compact itself. It goes beyond just the technocratic information itself. But typically, we've seen in the past that if a minister moves, the advisors move along, because the new minister brings with him a new team at that level. It's about trust and understanding and being comfortable with who's giving you that advice.
No, thank you very much. That's Director for Information Technology Association of South Africa, Sunil, talking to us there on the portal that was launched today by the Finance Ministry.